Welcome to another episode of Let's See Plans. I'm your host, KD. Today, we have a special guest. She received her bachelor's degree in human resource management and finance, and she's part of the transgender community. Welcome, Tay. How you doing?
Hey y'all.
So let's get straight to it. So, we was talking. You said something that I can relate to because you lost a parent, and I had lost a parent, but you lost your parent at a young age, at the age of 10, and you lost your mother due to addiction. So, what was life like that for you around that time when you lost your mom?
I would say around when I lost my mother, I felt lost. I was only 10,
Yeah.
so I feel like you don't know how to deal with emotions yet. You don't know how to deal with your feelings around that age. So, if you lose a parent young, I feel like as a child it leads you to like act out and do the wrong thing. So I had to move. I was living in Toma, Wisconsin
Yeah.
when my mom passed away with my grandma on my mom's side. So it was like a huge transition in my life at that time point because not did I just lose a parent, but I also have to move. Even though was born and raised in Madison, I was only there until like 5 and then moved to Toma, Wisconsin. And then when I was 10, had to move back to Madison.
Yeah.
Um, and in Toma, it's mostly white people, so I had to adjust to more diversity because Madison is definitely more diverse, but also with the transition of losing a parent too. Like
Right.
my dad's sister took me in, so she raised me. My dad was still in my life for sure, but my aunt could give me a better life. She
Yeah.
had her associate's degree. She was educated, had a good job, was a homeowner. So when I talk about losing my parent, looking back, I wouldn't say like, I don't want to say it was for a good reason, but everything happens for a reason. So
Right.
I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't lose my mother, I don't think.
Hold that thought. So you had said you feel that um so you feel that you lose your mom was a good reason behind it.
I feel like everything happens for a reason, like I
Oh,
said.
my bad,
So,
my bad. So but why you say that?
because, like you already said, I lost my mom due to addiction. She was addicted to Xanax. She also smoked marijuana, but I mean, who doesn't smoke weed?
Yeah.
But with the Xanax, I just don't feel like she was able to raise me correctly.
So when she was alive, if you can remember, I know you was only 10. Um, do you remember having a relationship with your mom?
I was really close with my mother.
Okay.
Looking back, it kind of hurts to see how she was, like knowing now. Like as a child, I feel like you really don't know what they're going through, but when you look
Oh,
back, you can see like what they're going through,
yeah.
and how addiction plays a role, like raising your kids. Like
Okay.
honestly, who can say that their parent was an addict and raised them properly? Not
Right.
many people.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you mentioned about your dad. So you mentioned about your dad. Now, during this time, did your dad had a hard time accepting you for who you are?
Well, I didn't start transitioning. Like, if we're talking about me being transgender,
Yeah.
I didn't start transitioning until adulthood. So, I mean, I was always more feminine, more in tune with like women and doing like quote unquote what people say is a girly thing or being a girl. Like I would always want like Barbies instead of action figures, like
Yeah.
Barbie doll heads. I would want like all the girl stuff, but I wasn't able to get that. No.
So, I'm just correct me if I'm wrong. Did your father was aware of the things that you was interested in, like the Barbie dolls and stuff like that?
I would say he probably was, but in denial or trying to force the, societal norms. Like as far
Yeah.
as, okay, you're a born male, you can't play with that. You can't have that. You can't do that.
Uh, so him seeing you playing with him, I'm saying this all wrong. Him seeing that your interest is in Barbie dolls and girl stuff, did that kind of like affected your relationship with him growing up?
No, because I feel like as a kid, you're taught that it's wrong, so then you're not going to do it. So, I mean, I just stopped, or, I wouldn't do what I wanted to do because of how I was raised.
Got it, got it. And when we was talking, you mentioned about um, your dad. Your first time your dad caught you playing in makeup. How was that reaction?
So, the first time he caught me with like a full face of makeup, I was actually 18. It was prom
Oh,
night.
you was 18?
Yeah.
I don't think that you was a kid when this shit happened.
No, like I said, how am I gonna access those things? Because, like I said, my mom passed away when I was 10. When I was younger, when my mom was raising me, she probably had more awareness, but then it was still like, no, you're not supposed to do those things. My mom would get me like the Barbie doll heads that I wanted, like if I wanted the Barbie dolls heads and stuff. But my mom's sister was in my life too, so if my mom's sister caught me with those type of things, she would just throw them away. So I feel like my family was very unaware or very, and then mind you, I'm 25, so I was born in 1999. I feel like being trans wasn't like, I don't want to say it's a big thing. Like there's been trans people since the 1980s, 1970s, but it's more
It wasn't really
awareness.
common.
There's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
awareness.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So your dad saw you in makeup. What was his reaction, and what was your first thought when he saw you?
I was always nervous to go around him or get caught by him in makeup, but like I
Yeah.
said, when he caught me in makeup, I was 18. It was prom night, so it was like a month before graduating. Like, I mean, I am at that time I was gonna do what I wanted to do for prom, like.
Ah.
But when he caught me, his reaction was like, "You're not a girl. Take that shit off." Like
Oh,
straight
he was
up.
pissed. What was your response when he saw you, with that?
Like when he said that, I just like left the house. Like,
Oh, so you was
what is
like-
there to talk about?
Ah, damn. So when he saw that and he, and you didn't do as he asked you to do, did that put a friction in your relationship?
No, I feel like he was still in denial.
At that time, I should say.
I think he was just more like caught off guard. My aunt, like this was a couple years ago. My dad's sister, like I said, she raised me. She always kind of was aware and knew. She raised me, so
Yeah.
and people try to say like, oh, if you're raised just by a woman, that's why you turned out that way. But I wasn't just raised by a woman. My dad was in my life, and then my aunt was also in a long-term relationship with who I call my uncle. So I saw a man and a woman, and I was taught that, being born male, like you can't do feminine things, you can't do girly things, you can't have girl clothes, you can't do this. So I don't know why people always bring that up as far as like, oh, well, you were raised this way. It's not that. No, I was actually raised the opposite way.
So you believe, you feel like you was born this way?
I feel like, yeah, like as
Yeah.
far as like my mindset and like my feelings, definitely. I always tell people like the feelings, like whether you're gay, lesbian, trans, bisexual, I feel like the feelings always like there, like you were definitely born that way. And then scientifically, people say, like scientists took scans of like trans women and compared it to a regular woman,
Yeah.
their brains more so match. So there's science behind it too. But I would say, yeah, the only choice you really have is to live in your truth to me. Like, I mean, I could live as a male, but I wouldn't be living in my truth. So the transitioning is a choice. Like, the transition is like you choosing to transition, but like the feelings are definitely there.
I see. But do you understand why people feel like it's a choice, though, right?
I
Or
mean,
you still don't? Or
people feel like it's a choice because I mean, there's multiple reasons why people
Right.
might feel like it's a choice. Societal norms,
Right. True.
the Bible,
Yeah.
religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man is supposed to be with women. You're not like, there's multiple reasons why people might feel like it's a choice. Like I said, to me, the choice is to transition. Why would I want to live my life unhappy and
Yeah. I
not
feel
doing
you.
what I want to do
Yeah.
for the next person?
Yeah. Because like I said that because like that's just my opinion. I feel like it's a reason for everything in life. That's just my opinion. Like no matter how small it is, I believe it's the reason why people like where they are. That's just my opinion. Like I don't think that a person like I don't believe that we can be born a certain way. We just it's a reason behind the things that we do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like me saying like I was born straight. I wasn't born straight. I just choose to make a decision on how I want to live my life. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you could say that, but there's science behind everything too, like
Yeah.
pheromones and stuff. Like, I mean, you can't deny science at the same time.
Nah, you can't. Nah, you can't. No, you can't. But that's just how I look at things. I mean, the way how I look at things don't mean I'm 100% right. You know what I'm saying? And I think we live in a time where that we're not able to have our own opinions because if someone hear you say that, then somebody will want to debate you or want to turn to an argument. It's just like, you know, everyone entitled to their opinion. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion. You know, but yeah. But so I want to ask you this. So growing up, you said you always been feeling this way since you was a kid, and you never been with a woman?
I mean, like, when I was a boy, did I date women? But that's like middle school. So I can't even, wouldn't even count that. What is a middle school relationship?
True.
You can't really count it unless, I mean, I do know like one relationship from my middle school that ended up getting married, but it's like
Yeah.
middle school relationships are usually fake anyway.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, true.
So,
Yeah, true. And
when I was in like high school, that's when I really started more so living in my truth, like started doing what I felt and doing how I feel.
so was there people that you could? I'm pretty sure. It's kind of obvious question, but was there people that you kind of like secretly told, like, "Hey, this is what I like" and stuff like that?
As far as,
Do you have any close friends that you can confine into?
okay, so when I first kind of like started makeup and stuff, yeah, my best friends, like we all started makeup together. All my friends were like female growing up.
Okay.
Also, I mean, I told them, like freshman year, I probably was still like a little reserved, like as far as like how I felt sexually,
Okay.
like as far as being attracted to men. So,
Yeah.
because that's another thing too, like you can be like you can transition and still be attracted to women.
True. That is true.
So I'm not that, and that's not me. But I mean, I told my friends like sophomore year, probably the beginning of sophomore year, that okay, I like boys, I like men.
Got it. Got it. So I want to get your perspective on this. You being a transgender, and I just want your perspective. How do you feel when you hear a kid, like maybe 3 or 4, say, you know, I want to be a girl, and parents sometimes support it and they, you know, help the kid to transition to that.
I mean, there's a difference between, and this is where people get confused.
Yeah.
There's a difference between like social transition, which is just your appearance and how you present yourself, and medical transition. Now, I'm at the stage of medically transitioning, so
Okay.
I am on hormones. I do plan to get some surgeries eventually, so that's where I'm at. But like as a child, if a parent supports it, I feel like, I mean, you should listen to your children, and you could probably let them like be more free as far as how they express themselves. But like 3 and 4, you definitely want to let your child medically transition though.
But no, but what if not even that young age? What if they 10, 11, teenage want to, you know, get the surgery?
No,
No?
I don't think you should. I mean, can you get cosmetic surgery before you're 18? No. So I don't feel like you should get any surgeries before you're 18.
I agree with that. Yeah, gotta be seeing that like us.
But you trans people don't get surgeries before they're 18, and that's another misconception.
Oh, that's
You
okay.
can, and like there's laws and stuff and like guidelines as far as what doctors can do. So like,
Right.
I would say the only thing that would happen like maybe middle school years, maybe high school years, like ninth grade, you could take testosterone blockers, which is not like you could take blockers, which is not gonna really affect them in any type of way. It's
Yeah.
just gonna prevent them from going through male puberty.
Oh, okay.
So like if it's someone transitioning from male to female, if they take testosterone blockers, it's just gonna block them from going through male puberty. I don't think anything adverse would happen.
Okay, okay. So you do support parents that allow their kids to be more open with, wearing makeup, stuff like that at a young age.
Of course. But medically transitioning, you should definitely have an understanding and wait.
Right, I
Especially
agree
with
with that.
surgery. I don't think you should get any surgery before you're 18.
I don't know if you noticed, but there's parents that allow their children to get surgeries, not at a young age, but like when they like maybe in their teenage years. I heard stories about that. Yeah, for sure.
I haven't heard many.
Yeah, I haven't heard that many, but I've heard
But
about it. Yeah.
also, if you let your kids, like, first of all, it's harder to get the access to hormones when you're younger.
Yeah.
I know for sure in the state of Wisconsin, you have to have your parents consent, both parents. You have to do therapy.
Okay.
So it's not something that a doctor is just going to prescribe just because this child said, I feel like a girl. It's not something that the doctor is going to just prescribe because the parent and the child have an understanding of who they are. There's steps and processes.
Got it. Got it. So, do you think if your mom was alive, do you think she would have accepted you for who you are?
Yeah. I mean, my dad accepts me for who I am now. I mean, he doesn't disaccept me, but it just took time for him. So
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
I don't know if it would have took as much time for her.
Yeah.
But
I see. And also I want to ask too, like, cause you mentioned to me like it took a while for you to be open with your sexuality.
no, my gender identity.
Gender identity. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, so sexuality, like I said, I was more open and expressive sophomore year of high school.
So
on.
So what's your gender
Identity.
Gender identity. And it took you at the age of 22?
Well, I was more expressive at 18.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like, right when I moved out of my parents' house, like I said, especially after that interaction with my dad, just seeing me just in makeup, like, I didn't even have no, like, hair done. I was just, I would say, I guess you could say, because I was a boy at that time, a boy in makeup. That's all
Yeah.
it was, that's all I was. So, I didn't start until I came to Milwaukee. I'm from Madison.
Okay.
So when I came to Milwaukee and went to UWM, that's when I started getting my nails done, my toes done, buying and ordering wigs, and I already wore makeup, so.
Yeah. So was there a struggle when you made that transition from different people, from your peers, when you walk in rooms and jobs and stuff like that?
At that time, I mean, I was, like I said, before I started wearing wigs, I was already wearing makeup. So, and I feel like it's easier for people to accept a gay man versus a transgender. Or even like at that time, I guess like people would call me a cross-dresser because I wasn't transitioning. But
Yeah.
like it's easier for like if someone's just a regular man and they like men, I feel like that's easier for society to accept at this time.
Why you say that though? Why you say that? 'Cause me and you were talking, you mentioned how it seemed like it's easier for people to accept a gay man, but not accept someone who's a transgender. But why you feel that way?
I mean, you can look at a lot of factors. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like statistically and societally, we're at a place where that's more normal than being trans still. and people, it's easier for people to understand, like, oh, well, they don't, I don't know, people are, I don't know, like, people are just weird, like,
I understand. I mean, when I think about it, some people might feel like it's just back to how you was raised, like with your parents. Like, there's people who look at like, okay, a man's not supposed to be doing this, a woman not supposed to be doing that. So people just, my opinion, just expressing the wrong way.
but I would say, as far as like why people accept a gay man more, or especially like we could talk about lesbians or gay females. That's like accepted across the board most of the time. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that.
especially by men. Oh, that's hot. That's sexy. But if a man likes a man, oh, that's wrong. But if a man wants to become a woman, that's really wrong. Like, that's just how it kind of is societally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely understandable on that one. That's definitely understandable on that one. So like, you ain't had to face no challenges on jobs or nothing like that when you know transition
So
to.
that was like what hesitated me from transitioning. Like I said, I was already wearing wigs and makeup at 18. I would
Okay.
more so like go back and forth. Like at that time in my life, if I had a job interview, I'm going as a man. Like at
Oh,
that
straight
point in
up.
my life, no
Okay.
makeup, just
So wait, I
suit and
gotta
tie.
I gotta ask you this. So you went. Have you ever went for an interview and you dress as a man, but when you got the job, you dress how you know?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's funny yourself. So how was that?
I
Sorry to
mean,
cut you off, but I had to ask you that.
I mean, it is what it is. I got the job now. You guys can't really discriminate now, especially like discrimination acts, even though Trump is trying to reverse a lot of that. But at that time, you couldn't really do much. I got the job.
Damn. So how did your like no one ever put you to their office like, hey, Tay, you know, what's going on with you? Why, you know?
I would say when I already was starting my transition, I did go to an interview like without my wig and makeup. And
Yeah.
then I went to the job and I'm like, oh, I'm trans. I mean, people, because okay, my thing is like there's the whole bathroom thing, and that happened in my life one time at when I worked at Spectrum. I guess the associates didn't feel comfortable. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them said something to like HR, but HR had to tell them like, you guys can't discriminate. Like, they can use that restroom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
So
there was no like, there was only one like gender neutral, like well, like one stall bathroom, like you know where it's just single use,
yeah.
and that was on the first floor by the entrance. So I worked on the third floor. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. You using the same dang. So okay. So I'm assuming you must have that you must face that problem a lot at times when people like frown up about you going to the same bathroom as a woman.
I mean, no, not anymore.
Okay.
I don't know. I think at jobs it might be because they know you. If I go into a woman's bathroom and I'm just staying to myself, I'm not saying too much. Some people might not even know I'm trans until I say something. Like my voice is what really catch. Like there's some futures too, but I feel like just looking at me sometimes you're not gonna be able to just tell right off rip.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and especially depending on the person, because you know some people are more aware. I feel like it's easier for someone who's really aware, like about trans people, to
Right.
know, like, oh yeah, she's trans, versus like someone who hasn't been around trans people. They may not know until I
Yeah.
say something and interact.
Got it. Got it. So have you felt like you lost opportunities of you being a transgender?
Job opportunities, like me transitioning now, yeah, especially like in corporate America.
Yeah, because you got your bachelor's degree.
I have my bachelor's degree in human resource management and finance. I've definitely applied to jobs. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, I mean, they're not going to say like that's the reason, but they're going to find some reason.
Yeah, but they're not gonna make it obvious.
That's
Damn.
just like even still, like there's organizations that struggle to hire black people. Like it's just
Yeah.
sometimes.
But yeah, but see, I just feel that's not right because you know you gotta accept people for who they are, even if you don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying?
But also, I definitely agree with you. But also, it's the fact that, like, whether someone's black, trans, gay, whatever someone is, I'm here to do a job.
Right.
If I have the credentials and I have the experience, what's the problem?
I agree. I agree. I agree. So, from your perspective, and you being a transgender, what's the struggles you think people? No, I'm saying this wrong. You've been a transgender. What are the struggles you face that people may not know? Not just with you, but just the transgenders in general.
I mean, I don't really, like, I'm not really like, like someone who's on the front line of like
Like a
advocating for trans people. I'm just a trans woman, but
yeah,
I'll definitely educate someone. But as far as like struggles, like we were just discussing, jobs,
yeah,
and many people may or may not know, but I wouldn't say all, but some trans women do turn to sex work because of this. But I mean, I have two jobs, so. But like, jobs might be a struggle. Um, People accepting you is a struggle. The bathrooms, I've only, discussing this, only had like one issue with the bathroom situation. Well, the one at Spectrum, but that wasn't really an issue because I could still use it.
yeah.
But one time, I was at, what's that club?
I think you told me this. The 720.
It's right across the street from 720. It was.
I don't.
They got rid of that club, but I was trying to use the restroom, and I'm in a dress, wig. Like, I wouldn't say that just makes someone trans, but I mean, I'm a trans woman at the end of the day. They have bathroom attendants. It was a more fancier club. Is it called Lucid?
I wouldn't know.
But the bathroom attendant, I was going to go to the women's bathroom. She was like, no, you have to go to the men's bathroom. And I'm like, I'm transgender. You don't have a gender neutral bathroom. I'm not going in there. She was like, you have to go to the men's bathroom. So I'm like, no. And my friends weren't with me at the time.
Yeah.
The bathroom was like downstairs in this club in like a basement. The club was upstairs. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, no, I'm not finna go in there. Went in the women's bathroom. And then she called security to get me escorted out.
Damn. That's
It was
crazy.
that serious. And then there's people talking like there's a whole man in here, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Like, no, there's not. Like, there's a trans woman, but like with the bathroom situation, first of all, I like men, so I'm not gonna even come on to you. And then also we're in here to use the bathroom. There's locked stalls. Like, I don't really hear cases of trans women harassing or doing anything to cisgender women in bathrooms.
Word.
You hear men maybe walking into the women's bathroom and trying to deceive people, but I'm not deceiving anybody.
So what? I mean, just why didn't you just use the man's bathroom just for that day? Just to
Why would I? That's gonna cause more of a scene than me going to the women's bathroom. Why would I go to the men's bathroom? I look like this. Especially a lot of men sometimes just looking at me, they're gonna be like, there's a woman in here. What? Like, then I'm gonna talk or say something. That's more dangerous. I'm putting my life at risk, especially
Okay.
in certain clubs, certain areas.
I didn't know. I didn't even think about
Like,
that. Because I'm thinking myself like, shit.
I'm not gonna get beat up in a bathroom or.
No, yeah, I understand. No, because I ain't gonna lie. Maybe I shouldn't say this on camera, but I'm saying it anyway. Like, sometimes, like, I only do this at work. So if I gotta use a bathroom and there's a woman's stalls available, but see, it's only for one individual though, so it ain't like multiple. So, but yeah, if I gotta use a bathroom, like shit, I'm looking around, go in there, pee real quick, I'm gonna run out. You know what I'm saying?
But that's different.
Yeah, no,
sure.
that's different. That's different. That's why I'm thinking. That's why.
But like, it was like, like a public club bathroom.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't thought about that.
There's multiple stalls. Like, if I go into the men's bathroom, there's gonna be other men. There's gonna be urinals. They're gonna look at me. They're gonna be like,
yeah, like what the fuck? Yeah, I understand. And I want to ask you about your safety, but before I even get to that part, I do want to ask, like, if you don't mind sharing, have you slept with a lot of men that was on the down low? You ain't gotta say no names.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say names, But I feel like a lot of the men I do interact with or like are intimate with are definitely down low. Most of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because the reason I'm asking because it's like I feel like you don't be concerned of your safety when you mess with a man that's on the down low.
Me personally, I mean, most of the time I'm gonna get to know someone before I get to that point. So I
Yeah.
already kind of have interacted with them, maybe talked to them on the phone, on FaceTime for a week, a couple weeks, and then we might link up one time, then, like just hang out, link up. So like intimacy, like, I mean, most of the people at this point, I mean, if I interacted with you sexually, I know you or know
Oh,
of you
okay.
a little bit.
Because sometimes you may think you know a person, then you be like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? They turn to a whole different person. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Um, I feel like I've only gotten threatened once,
You know, you got
but
threatened once.
yeah, I mean, it was over the phone, so like,
Why? What happened? If you don't feel comfortable sharing, you gotta share.
I don't, I don't know. Like sometimes like if someone's on the down low, they get mad because you said they're DL or down low. Like, why are you angry? That's what you are. Like
Okay.
what? Like I'm not gonna expose you. That's not my business. That's not. And that if we talk about trans people exposing or even gay people exposing someone who's DL, I just feel like that's not right because if someone wants to come out, they're gonna come out. That's their decision. You can't force someone out. You can't do that. That's not right.
So to defend that, I think I don't agree with it, but I definitely understand why. Because, sometimes you're putting, you know, I'm gonna be straightforward. Sometimes you put in, people in risk. You know what I'm saying? So you messing with if you're a man messing with a man and a woman, like, I mean, that's not cool. Like, at least be open with it. If you open with it, then that's fine. But you hiding it, and that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like that's because because you never know. Like, I'm not saying there is. I don't know, but there's maybe somebody who willing to accept that. Like, okay, you like men and women. Okay, at least
And
they're
there are
aware.
women that accept men that accept both.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just societally, like a whole lot of things go into it. We live in a messed up society.
Right. So I want to ask you this. In Milwaukee, is there a lot of men that's on the down low from your
I
experience?
feel like
I know it's like that everywhere, but I'm talking
I feel
about in
like
Milwaukee.
in general, I feel like first of all, being trans and being gay are two different things.
Yeah.
I'm more feminine. I'm more perceived as a woman. I look more closely to a woman. So of course, a man that's attracted to women might be curious or might like I even have men that weren't even like all the way curious, but they see me and I look good. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is.
No,
But
no, no. You ain't answer my question.
I'm answering it.
No, no, no. I'm saying, is there a lot of?
I'm getting there.
My bad. I cut you off. My
So
bad.
like as far like my thing too is like when people say DL and you're messing with a trans woman, well they're like more aligned with the woman, but
Yeah.
um a man might not even mess with men. They might just mess with trans women and women because they're just solely attracted to femininity, attracted to women. So
Got it.
like,
Okay.
um, as far as that, I mean, like me being trans, I feel like more men are gonna go. That's why I was trying to say I'm getting there.
My
More
bad.
men
My
are
bad.
gonna go for me, and it might be down low because they know I'm trans. So I don't want anybody to know my business because you're a trans woman. Um, and I would say there's probably a lot of men that like I always tell people like 6 out of 10 men are gonna go regardless, like of me being
Okay.
trans or not. Maybe even a little more.
Damn. So you saying that you can make a man fold?
I mean, I'm not saying that, but I'm
I'm talking
saying
shit. I'm talking shit.
I look good, like
Yeah.
just to be attracted to who you're attracted to, but
Yeah.
um, I'm not gonna put someone's business out there because they want to mess with me if they just want to mess with me. That's not my place.
No, I respect that. That's definitely understandable. So what's your so I do want to ask. So why from your perspective, why do you think men hide what they like? Cause you said like a man get mad, you tell him he's on the down low, he get all worked up about it.
Some do, yeah.
Sorry. So why do you think that from your perspective?
Um, I think some men probably hide, like, I mean, family plays a factor. Their family might not accept them.
Yeah.
So they're putting their family life at risk.
Right.
Now, I feel like I don't care if someone's down low
Yeah.
if they're single, like you're single. But like being down low, having a girlfriend and still messing with some, like a cheater is a cheater anyway. So like,
Right.
I mean, don't be like cheating, you know.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be down low, you could be down low. You can mess with men, women, both. And I guess that is your business. You're single. But if you have a girlfriend and you're down low and you're messing with men, especially like as far as like men, even transgender, like if you're messing with anybody, that's cheating. But that might be why they're down low. Like they might more so like men and they're with a woman.
Yeah.
They're down low because of society. They're down low because they don't feel comfortable with themselves. They're down low because they're worried about their family accepting them.
Makes sense. That makes sense. And then too, just especially depends on who the guy is, because what I noticed just in Milwaukee, it be the ones that like I don't even want to use the wrong term, but like
The ones that like overdo it, like I'm not with that. Oh.
Yeah, that too. Like, yeah, people who overdo it, then too be the like the type of men who present themselves as a street dude. You know what I'm saying? And then those be the ones you be like, oh, never had thought that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But hey, I mean, each his own though. So, like, what's your thoughts about that one transgender? She got killed. I don't know, it was like 2 months ago.
In February.
Did you?
I didn't know her like personally. I knew of her. I think I followed her on social media. Okay. So it was really eye-opening seeing it, especially like being a trans woman. It can be eye-opening and also like shed light on something as far as like dude was definitely clearly obviously down low. Whatever the case may be. I don't feel like if the factor, whether, I can't say if she did extort him or if she was trying to. I'm not going to talk about that because that's not my business. But I don't feel like if she was or if anybody tries to extort somebody, I don't feel like that's right.
Right. No, I agree to that.
But I don't think it calls to cost someone their life.
Yeah, that was very disturbing when I seen that. I'm like, damn, that was very sad. That's why it makes me ask you about your safety. You weren't, because it's like, I feel like being a transgender, I feel like that community, especially men who transition to a woman, it's not protected.
I would agree with you. Like, as far as like, why does it matter what I'm doing as far as me transitioning? I'm just a human being. And that's what people fail to realize. Like, everybody's, first of all, just human.
I agree to that.
And then also, it's like, if I'm not hurting anybody, why would you want to hurt me for living my life? If I'm not, even if like someone is trans and they're coming on to you, you have to beat them up, hurt them, abuse them, even if you don't agree with it or don't find trans women attractive. I mean, you can voice your opinion, like as far as like, oh, I'm not interested, just like you would any person. Like, let's say an ugly female comes up to a man, they're gonna tell her, I don't want a trans. It's the same thing, kind of like if a trans woman comes up and you're not attracted to her, say that. I mean, yes, do some people maybe overdo it, and I feel like most people don't. I know I don't. I'm not gonna go out of my way to talk to someone who doesn't want to talk to me or force me on someone. there's plenty of people that do want me. So
But you know why men act like that, right? When a man knows when a man knows, okay, this is a transgender, and he gets aggressive, you know why he acts like that, right?
well, I mean, I think you're trying to get at like he might be attracted to her and then found out she's trans. Is that what
That
you're
too,
saying?
or like because that too, or something they hiding within themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's like, let's say like a man saw you and he peeped that, okay, he's transitioning. I'm gonna go this way. Let's say you go left, he gonna go right, and that's because what I feel like it's something that he's hiding. Because a real man ain't gonna feel uncomfortable sitting next to a transgender, because he know who he is and know what he like. You know what I'm saying? And so for a person who reacting that way, obviously they hiding something, in my opinion. Because like what you said, you made a great comparison. Like a man who's ugly. I mean, if an ugly woman approach a man gonna be like, hey, I'm not interested. No, thank you. They gonna be respectful about it. But as a transgender, it's like, fuck no, get the fuck out my face. What the hell? Like, nah. Because like you said, we are still human beings. So, but yeah. So, what is something you wish that people can understand about the transgender community?
I mean, that we exist. I mean, a lot of people know we exist, but also that,
Yeah.
like I said, we're just another human being. Like, I feel like me being who I am necessarily is not a choice. Like, I mean, it's a choice to transition and a choice to be happy in my
Yeah.
life. Why would anybody want to live an unhappy life? I wouldn't want that for anyone.
Yeah, I feel you on that part.
Let's say you're doing a job you don't like. I would want you to find a better job. I'm transitioning. I would want to transition to live a better, healthier life for me.
Yeah. I
It
agree
might
with
not be
that.
for you, but it's for me, and I'm living a better, healthier life because of this.
I
I
agree
mean,
to that.
we can look at statistics and as far as like transgender suicide rates, especially when people aren't accepted. We can look at, like we were just talking about, like the adversities as far as like abuse and stuff, like as far as
Yeah.
like people getting murdered because I'm living my life. I
All
don't feel
right.
like anybody should get murdered for living their life.
Yeah.
I'm just living my life.
And I agree with that. And honestly, like, shoot. So I'm gonna be straightforward. Like, the transgender community, the LGBT community, like, I trust them more than I trust somebody who's not into that. And I say that because, like, I don't know, y'all don't seem like y'all seem more trustworthy.
I mean, I feel like
Not all. Like, I'm not saying all, but like, it's no judge. It's like it's a non. It's a
we're accepting of all
yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why talking with you just gave me a different perspective. 'Cause I never really thought about it like that. But talking with you and you breaking everything down, I just don't understand why. Just like why can't we all get along? Especially people accepting people like you, because it's like you said, I'm not hurting nobody. But what I think too is, just playing devil's advocate. Some people may feel like, okay, my kids is being pressured, and my kids seeing stuff on TV shows and stuff like that people might not agree with. You know what I'm saying? So
But-
yeah, so go ahead, respond back to that. 'Cause I got another question on that.
well, I was gonna just say, how can you pressure someone just for living your life? That's just like, if that's the case, when I be able to say I was pressured to live life as a man? Wouldn't I be able to say that I was pressured to live as a straight man that needs to like women because of society, and that's mostly what you see? There's more straight people than LGBTQ. There's more.
Yeah.
There's more societal norms to being straight to the opposite. So how would we be pressuring anybody?
But honestly, though, to play devil's advocate, I believe you were, just correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you were pressured growing up. Like, I feel like when your dad seen that, he put that fear in you, that I believe that's one of the reasons why you didn't want him to see you with the makeup, because of his reaction.
That's true, but I'm saying I was pressured. Yeah, I was pressured to not be trans.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay. I get what you're saying.
My parents raised me
Okay.
to be a boy who likes women. You need to like women. If I did anything feminine, I remember as a child, my stepbrother would hit me in my chest. I have asthma too.
Really?
So, like, I'm
Damn.
damn near having asthma attacks. Like,
That's not funny, but that's crazy.
but like, especially like people who, let's talk about someone who beats their kids. Does that kid end up usually still turning out to like men if they were a man?
Yeah,
Most of the
I'll
time,
tell you.
they do.
Yeah.
If a trans woman was beat to stay a man and be a man, and you're put in camps, and you're still, it's not changing anything.
Yeah.
You're not. It's who you are.
Yeah.
So
I agree to that.
So you're not pressuring anybody. Like one of my jobs, I'm a K-4 teacher. So kids do see me. I'm not pressuring anybody. They don't even know, especially with 4-year-olds, they don't even know the difference.
Yeah, well, it's not so much pressure, just influence and stuff like that. Because some people out there, they believe, you know what I'm saying, the media influence young kids' minds to think that's okay and stuff like that.
A lot of people do.
Yeah,
think that.
so really it's the media that really kind of like makes people upset. So certain people who dislike how the media promote things, this is what I think. I just thought about this. I believe they take it out on the transgender community or take it out on the LGBT community because they don't agree with it. So they take it out and they do it in a negative way. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I want to ask you this. There's a couple more questions before we wrap things up. So like, I'm pretty sure it was tough on you during that times, you getting denied jobs because of who you want to be and things like that. How were you able to take care of your mental health during those times?
I mean, I always keep a job. Like, I do have my degree. There's going to be something out there for me. Why would I want to work at an organization? And you have to think about it like that. You have to kind of change your mindset. Why would I want to work somewhere where they're not going to accept me?
Right.
I wanna
So
be
it
happy
never been a time
anyway.
period where you was just like, let's just say we're gonna take the job out. There never was a time frame where, not time frame. Was there a moment when you start change your identity? It never affected you mentally at all?
I became more happy as far as, I feel like I was less happy when I had to go back and forth. There's less pressure on me now. Like, I don't have to, I am who I am. Like, I'm not going to change that. As far as like, okay, let's talk about before. Also, we didn't even talk about this when, because like I said, medically, I didn't transition until I was like 22, 25 now. So like 3 years. But I would also go back and forth for holidays when I would go home when I was in college. I'm taking the wig makeup off. I'm going home.
Oh, you
yeah. Yeah. So,
Why? Why is that?
well, I already had that interaction at 18 with my father. So I kind of was still kind of reserved and didn't know how he felt. And then, yeah, it was mostly my father probably.
Okay, so you probably answered this. Maybe didn't comprehend my brain. What was that moment you were like? What was that moment for you when you was like, no, I don't give a fuck. I'm finna just be me. I'm finna wear. I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. And I'm finna just be me. What was that moment?
Well, there's different settings for that. Like, as far as when I moved out my parents'
No, I'm
house.
talking about like facing your father, facing your
father.
family. That's what I mean.
Was I already on hormones, or was it like the year? I'm trying to think if it was the year. It was on Easter. It was on Easter.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if it was the year before I started hormones or the year I started hormones, and I'm like, well, I'm already on hormones. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think I probably just started my hormones. It was Easter of 2022. And I just went home. Like, I had to talk to my friends, and they were like, "You're grown." Like, at this point, and also a lot of my family already knew at that point. Like a lot of my other family members already
Oh, there you okay.
already knew. So it was like, if you don't just come.
Yeah. But it was
So
just your dad that you was real concerned with.
when I did go to Easter, I don't know if one of my family members maybe gave him a heads up.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he
Okay.
came in. I'm sitting there. I'm kind of hiding from him, like.
Yeah.
But eventually, like at that Easter, he pulled me to the side, outside of everybody, and was like, "I mean, I'm gonna accept who you are, but it's gonna take some time
That's
for me
good.
to adjust and get used to."
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good to hear. Because, you know, most parents would have damn near cut their kid off for stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Some would, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. So, like, somebody that's listening, what message would you give to a parent who's struggling with accepting their kid of transitioning to a man or a woman?
Talk to your children, get
Yeah.
to know your children. A lot of people have kids and don't even know their children. They don't know their kid. I know.
I agree to that part. I agree to that.
I know when I was getting raised, like, I'm going to do one thing in the house, but when I leave, I'm doing something else. Or I was always outside the house because, like, am I accepted here? Like, you might be able to notice key indicators, like, especially when they get more close to adulthood, high school age.
Right.
You know, your brain's more developed. You're learning more. You're expressing yourself more.
Yeah.
Whether the parent knows it or not, they're starting to make more of their own decisions. So to get to know your children, to listen to your kids, to if someone is transitioning, maybe, I mean, it's okay to question things, but do it respectfully. Try to educate yourself before you make irrational decisions. Maybe take them to a therapist that is educated on transgenderism.
Right.
Their doctor, all things like that.
Got it.
Educate yourself.
Got it. I agree to that. Definitely got to educate yourself for sure. And I even asked you this. I want to ask because you were talking about. I mentioned about TV shows and stuff like that. Like, how do you feel about, you know? Yeah, I'm gonna be straightforward. How you feel about when like gay things are on TV shows, stuff like that, for young children?
I mean, is it often that it's on there for young children? A lot of the time when something is gay, it's not a show for children. It's
No. Because I don't know they still do it. I don't know if it's still happening now, but it was a time where they were so like. I think Disney Plus had like a TV show like two gay couples on Disney Plus. I think I see. Yeah, it was. I didn't watch it, but I mean I seen it, and I'm just like, okay.
When that happens, I feel like it's more light, but I mean,
So let me ask you this way.
you can restrict what your kids watch. So,
But sometimes you probably can't because if it's on a TV show like a Disney, show, you would think like they're not going to show something like that, and then they end up still showing it.
I mean,
Do you see a problem with
but
that?
I mean, like I said, it's not gonna be like anything too inappropriate for the child. I mean,
Okay.
it's just showing a man like a man, but it's not gonna show like really that intimacy piece. Like, let's think about even regular
Yeah.
Disney shows where the mom and the dad. It's just gonna show that this child has two dads, maybe, and that
Okay.
is a norm for some parents nowadays. Some people do have two dads. Some people do have two moms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's out there. I mean, especially living in Milwaukee, people are gonna
Right.
see a man and a man be together in public more than on the TV show.
Yeah. Good point. You got a good point, but I just feel like some people have a problem with that because of in their minds they feel like, okay, there's, how can I explain this? There's people out here they feels that what people are normalizing what's wrong and making it right. So meaning guys, people who doesn't agree with certain lifestyles, they feel like, okay, the media or people is making this right. It's not right because of based off their beliefs and based on how they was raised. So when they see something like that, that's when they have different reactions. People had different reaction with it, stuff like
And they
that.
can have their reaction. I mean, that's their opinion, that's their choice, that's their feelings.
I agree to
I
that.
can't really talk too much. I get discriminated against, or people say negative things towards me every day, or
Oh, really?
don't agree with me. I work in customer service also, so yeah. Um, at this point, I mean, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but when I was more so like in the middle of my transition and
Yeah.
I'm working, I would correct people. At this point, if I'm just having a quick interaction and someone misgenders me and says he, or sometimes people do it on purpose, I just get through. Or sometimes I do correct certain people, but I can gauge and tell, like, if they're respectful enough. And some people be like, oh, I didn't even mean to, I'm sorry. And they'll correct themselves. Or sometimes people will do it on purpose, as far as me working in customer service. And I just have to kind
Yeah.
of,
But so like that don't look that don't that's why I be I'm just trying to I think I asked you this I'm asking you in a different way but that don't sometimes bother you sometimes that don't affect you when you feel discriminated at times being a transgender.
I mean, it probably does, but
And if it do, how do you like keep being who you are? How do you just snap out of it?
I mean, I feel like I'm very chill. First off, like
Yeah,
I don't like now. When I was younger, I probably used to like argue more.
like lash out.
For sure.
Okay.
Not give a fuck. Pardon my French. I used to cuss people out, like, but now I'm at the stage in my life like I'm at a job, I'm making my money. I can't let anybody mess that up for me. Um, So if I'm discriminated against at work, like as far as like by a customer or someone I'm interacting with, I mean, people are discriminated at their jobs for being black by a customer if they work in customer
Yeah.
service. You just have to switch your mindset. Like you have to kind of know that they're ignorant. You're not going to change their opinion now. You're at your job.
Right. Yeah.
That. But if I'm like out, like I think like I was out yesterday, last night, and someone misgendered me. I'm like, oh, I go by she hers. I don't care if you just bought me these shots. Like,
Some okay.
I don't care. Like, but like, especially if I'm out, like I'm gonna correct you if I mean, I guess if they do end up misgendering me, but they would have to interact with me because I feel like sometimes people probably notice, oh, they're trans, or they know me from somewhere and they're trans, or someone else says something and she's trans. But like I was at Poorman's yesterday, and people might not have noticed right off rip, but it is what it is.
And then too, people gotta understand too. There's a lot of men who's really into that like trans women.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
already discussed that. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
what
feel
I'm saying.
like
But like people,
five,
yeah,
6, 7, 10. Nah, let me stop. I feel like most men are gonna go for a trans woman.
Oh, yeah, I agree
More
with
so
that.
than like a man going for a man. Like, you really have to be attracted to a man to go for a man. But that's the difference with being transgender. Like, people are gonna see me as a woman,
yeah,
um, and if they might not want to because they know I was born male. That's fine. But some people aren't gonna care.
no, you're right on that one. You're right on that. You definitely right on that one. So this is my last couple questions. So I didn't really ask more. I want to ask you more questions about your mom. Like, do you have your moments of like missing your mom sometimes? Like grief. Does grief sometimes kick like bother?
At
I'm
my
saying no wrong.
age now,
Yeah. Does
grief
grief? Yeah.
bother me.
You
At
know what I mean?
my
Wait. Does grief creep up on you at the age that you at now?
No, I think I lived with my mom without my mom for 15 years now, so you kind of learn to live without them. Do I wonder how life would have been if she was in my life? I don't know, cause I'm living in the now.
All right.
That already happened, so I can't change the past. I don't want to think about what could have happened if she was here because she's not, and she's not going to be here.
Yeah.
So that's just my mindset. So
Definitely good mindset. And I can't end this and not like talk about you your accomplishments. You say you got your bachelor's. How was that for you? The road of getting that, and that was, I'm pretty sure that was a challenge.
I feel like that's probably when I was the most depressed being in college. Like, I
Really?
don't know.
Why you say
I
that?
was working full time, going to school full time, and then that's when I was kind of hesitant on transitioning for real. COVID. I was in college when COVID came
Oh,
out.
okay.
Um, a lot of things,
Do you?
but
Well, let me ask you this then. Like, if like you said, you was going through a lot, right? Do you think it was worth going through all that? Like going through college?
I mean, at the end of the day, I have something that someone can't take away from me. I have my degree, so you can't take that away from me. So it will probably pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it does, even if it's not like a super high paying job, I'm still getting in jobs because I do have that degree.
Yeah.
I do have my experience.
And how long ago you graduated from college?
2022.
Oh, okay, good. 3 years, right?
Yeah, in May, 3 years. So next
Yeah.
month, yeah.
Yeah, keep trying, keep trying, keep applying for jobs, it's gonna eventually happen. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna eventually happen for sure. So I applaud you and I'm proud of you because it's like most people don't even know how to be themselves, even if they is a straight person. There's people that I interact that I know that can't even be themselves because they want to be accepted. So I definitely applaud you and have a lot of respect for you. That's why I say I have a lot of respect for the transgender and for the LGBTQ because they just being themselves. You know what I'm saying? They just want to be accepted. They want to be respected, which I can understand. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like from both sides is that everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't believe that, you gotta like force it onto them. And I don't believe the other side should be forcing on. You know what I'm saying? You just respect people and just keep it pushing.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, like, I would say, you don't have to agree with what I'm doing, but you can still respect me.
Yeah. I feel you on that one. I want to ask, like, you taking the hormone pills, is like, how's that? Because I never asked nobody this question. You the first person that I met that transitioning. You taking these pills is like, how does your body feel? Like, you feel nauseous at times? You know what I'm saying? Just
Like I said, me transitioning, I know mentally I'm more happy.
yeah.
Your mindset definitely changes as far as like, and maybe that's part of the reason why I used to be a crash out because, testosterone men are just like I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't have that much testosterone. I have more estrogen. It definitely changes your mindset. It changes your body, but I don't think I haven't seen anything adversely happen to
Oh no,
me.
like no side effects or nothing like that.
No.
So when are you trying to make that transition?
It's
Like the cosmetic wise and stuff like that.
when I'm ready, when it's my time.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it can be expensive, so
Damn, how much? I never see this. I'm not really. I don't never look up. I never look this up. But like, how much is they normally?
I
Go?
mean, like nowadays, some insurances do cover certain procedures if you're trans because it is like a medical condition per se.
Okay.
But it depends on your insurance. And then Trump's in office, so who's to say when I can get the procedures that I want?
Got it.
But I mean, I don't really feel like I necessarily need that much done.
Yeah. So you mentioned Trump, and this I got two last questions. My first question is about Trump. He mentioned how he don't like, you know, transgender people playing in basically a transgender man playing in a women's sport, right? And I know
You mean
don't.
transgender women playing in women's sports?
Yeah, that. Thank you for the correction. So, even though I know you're not really into sports, but what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, a lot of people have that opinion. I feel like
What's your opinion on that?
I don't really think about it too much, but like
Yeah.
as far as like science, like the science is there that, you know, at the point of like taking hormones and testosterone blockers, you know, it's like certain things make men the way they are because of their hormones, and certain
Yeah.
things make women the way they are for their hormones. So when trans women play in women's sports, or a trans man plays in men's sports, there's like regulations for sure as far as like,
Right.
okay, they need to check your hormone levels. How long have you been? I think you have to have been on hormones for at least 5 years. There's the science behind it, but I mean, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I don't really.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I don't feel like there's enough trans people to have a separate league, so I don't know. I really don't know. And then like hormones, like I said, change our bodies. So as a trans woman and I'm perceived as a woman, I don't think it would be equal to playing a men's sport either. So I don't
Got it. Got it.
know.
See, I didn't know nothing about like how the pills can balance your. See, ain't no number. I knew it, but not to that degree. So this is my last question. So if someone out there is struggling with their gender identity or family acceptance, what would you say to them right now?
I would say be who you are and live as who you are. I wouldn't say I regret like taking my time. Everything happens for a reason, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
You will transition at your time, at your pace, at the right time for you. But just, you know, do your own research too. Because, I mean, it is something, and that's part of the reason it took me so long. Like, I had to think about, like, is this really who I am?
Yeah.
You kind of have to think about your identity and what makes you happy and how you feel. You have to think about those feelings
All right.
that you've had and how long you've had them. So be who you are. And then as far as family acceptance, I mean, I know it can be harder for others than it was for me. I mean, I still had my challenges, but live for you who you are and don't care. It might suck if you lose a parent, but were they really your parent, or did they really love you if they can't accept you being who you are and being more happy
Yeah.
in your life?
Yeah. No, I agree to that. I definitely agree to that. I definitely agree to that. Yeah, definitely. That's a good advice. That's some good advice. Well, I want to say that's all the questions I have. I want to say thank you for coming. I really appreciate you coming. You know what I mean? And keep being who you are, and keep on, keep on, just keep being who you are, and keep on striving for greatness. Good things coming your way, because you have a good spirit, and just don't let no one take your joy away.
Well, you know I won't.